Hello and welcome to Coder Radio. It is August 8th, at least at the time of recording. Who knows when this comes out, right? Probably pretty soon. So, as promised, this is our mailbag. It is basically a show full of your feedback. And yeah, let's get right to it. So, Galleon251 writes, here's a good one for the AMA. What do you think is the most overhyped dev tool, library, kit, and what's the most underappreciated? Ooh. Okay. I'll do underappreciated first. I think that's easier for me. I think Doku doesn't get enough love. Doku is the re-implementation of Heroku build packs for just vanilla Docker. I know people hear about it, and I know there's newer replacements, but there was quite a while there where Heroku just fell down on the job. Then they were acquired by Salesforce. And Doku, it's a day-to-day for me. I am slightly moving away from it, but there's nothing wrong with it, and it has a great plugin story. Makes working with like flat file storage stuff, or you've got to have like your massive roll your own S3 bucket kind of thing. Great for that. So yeah, lots of stacks supported. That would be my most underappreciated. Overappreciated, huh? Overhyped. I'm gonna go with React, and I know that is super duper spicy, so hear me out. There is nothing that React does that modern vanilla JavaScript couldn't do. And React adds a bunch of complexity, in my opinion. And is in a lot of ways, it's just not standard, right? It's not standard ECMAScript. So I know it is the darling right now. It has been for a while. Hell, NASA uses it. I understand that this is a wildly unpopular opinion, but I have tried. Okay, I've done the speed dating with React. I've seen the movie. I went to the play, tried to love it. I just could not get into React. I kind of could extend this to a lot of JavaScript frameworks that kind of want to take over how you do things. I kind of believe that we're just at the point in 2025 here where standard JavaScript is actually really good. Now, I don't know if I have to like drinking the DHH Kool-Aid a little bit, but I'm even moved away from TypeScript, or I'm just doing vanilla JavaScript. And there's a lot of reasons for that. I tend not to like strict typing unless it's something like super mission critical. And I just, the browser, right? For most of the things you're doing, it's fine. Just you need to get shit done. So yeah, that's my I think a little spicy response. So let me know what you think in the Discord, Code Radio Discord. The link is in the show notes. Go check it out. And yeah, next one, B2B SaaS extremist. So what makes you a SaaS extremist exactly would be my question. Is it like you go to a meeting and they're doing like a traditional enterprise sales model and you just like hold everybody hostage until they convert to a SaaS? Because that would be bad for me personally. But yeah, so let me know what makes you a SaaS extremist. But they write, what would it take for you to consider switching languages or frameworks for line of business web apps? What do you consider a must-have, what's nice to have, and why? Oh, yeah, this is easy. What would make me switch would be unbalanced demand and hype that business stakeholders were bought into such that I could get early iPhone iOS SDK release back margins and ease of sales. Right. Ultimately, I'm running a business. I do have my preferences, right? God rest Objective-C. I love my Ruby. Python's great. But I don't care, right? The hard part for me is actually the biz dev side. So, we're just going to make it up, right? Let's say, what the hell? Let's say the king crab takes over and Rust, becomes the new hotness and you got to use Rust everywhere and people are clamoring for Rust. Well, I have a couple things I've done in Rust that I could quickly glam up like a portfolio page or something, and I would go aggressively selling Rust. This is not specific to Rust, right? This is just the primary driver for me is, and kind of has always been, what do the people want, right? The ducks are quacking. What do they want? They want bread. They want Ritz crackers. What do they want? If I had not to care about money, it was like a hobby, then I would probably say something with really nice event handling, I think would probably be it. But again, We don't live in that world. We live in the world of, this is a capitalistic enterprise that needs to make money and compete with, frankly, a global market. So yeah, it would be we give the people what they want. Which actually, I'm gonna take a quick break from the feedback here because it brings me to an interesting release from OpenAI this week that I have in the notes here. 5.0 kind of came out. Now I've been an OpenAI Fancy Pants subscriber for a long time. They charge me lots of money. I don't know what plan I have, to be honest with you. And they forced the update on 5.0 and removed from the options, at least at the time of this, 4.0 and 4.5 preview and all that. I gotta say, it's pretty clear. At least my results have been pretty bad on 5.0. And based on, also I keep saying bad on 5.0, I feel like I'm talking about Miami Vice over here. I feel like based on some of the reporter questions that Sam Altman, CEO of OpenAI, has got and his responses, that this release was primarily a release for them to save on costs. And boy, does it show. I've been doing this great competition of the AIs for coding and, kind of comparing them. Like I've rewritten my stupid old app code with all of them to a point, and just consistently Claude keeps kicking the crap out of OpenAI for coding, at least in the way I use it. This could be like a artifact of the way I think. This could be the way I write the prompts. Who knows? But yeah, not a great update, especially considering I think I pay them at least like 200 and something a month. So that's a lot for a SaaS in my opinion. So this is pretty disappointing, and it goes to show kind of the rot. We have a couple questions about AI up here later, but the rot and the whole AI hype thing is that none of these companies are really making money. And whatever they did that made this slightly worse is probably saving them oodles of cash, right? So it's understandable, but we'll get to that in a bit. Ricardo says, how far would you like to take automation in your own business? As far as I can go, baby. Sky's the limit, as long as it works. I basically want to do all of my marketing. And when I say marketing, I mean marketing to like biz normie people via automation, if I can get there. I do actually write my blog posts still. I would be lying if I said I didn't run it through Gemini for spell check and like, does this sound weird and blah, blah, blah. But, that's the same thing as using Grammarly, basically, right? So I also have Gemini because I weirdly think that the Google AI would be the best at SEO, like suggest if my title's stupid or if there'd be a more effective title for SEO. And I have to say, at least the performance on LinkedIn, when I use Gemini's suggested title and suggested like stupid meta tag SEO blurb thing, it does perform better. So, that's the thing. I've automated a lot, actually. There's a great independent app I use called Savvy Cal. It's like a calendry. I forgot this. Everybody uses that other one, but it's cool. It's somebody independent developer, and the nice thing is it's got a pretty open API, and you frankly could just get away with a lot via webhooks with it. I've done a bunch of stuff with that in Slack because a problem I have is I would like people who are interested in, either a custom project or Alice stuff to be able to book a meeting and let's talk about it. I don't want, and don't take this the wrong way, if you're an offshore, you run an offshore development company, but I have absolutely no interest in taking those meetings because, part of my pitch is we're US based. We're all full-time employees right now. And even when we're not, even when I have part-time people, they are in America. They're US based. So we'll talk about that in a little bit going forward, but it's a core pitch, partially because I do a lot of work in regulated industries where that's a requirement. And honestly, I just see no point in taking a meeting where I'm never going to say yes, right? I'm just never going to subcontract to an offshore company. But these dudes are just extremely aggressive in their outbound. Like I was very annoyed. There was about a month where I had to take down my calendar link because I needed to put up better filters because I was just getting hammered. Like any spot that was open, it was, and then some of them would be like, I would think kind of frankly cheeky and pretend to be a customer or a potential customer just so I'd show it. So really bad, really, like I gotta say, I know sales is tough. It's probably the hardest part of the job for me too. Just don't overtly lie. right? Because no one wants to do business with someone who's trying to trick them. Let's just, come on, man. In the words of Sleepy Joe, come on, man. All right, Chakotay, formerly of the USS Voyager. Thank you, First Officer. Hope the Maquis are doing cool and you find Janeway some coffee in that nebula. I don't think this might be the first time we've had a Starfleet officer write in. He has 3 questions. Two questions, because one of them's Google misformatting it. What advice would you give your past self with the knowledge you know? Could be personal or tech. Well, I'm going to skip personal. Tech, I would take it more business. I should have believed my own stuff that I say, that I preach to you guys way back in the day more. Fundamentally, the technology industry is always looking to lower prices on developers and development. It did that. My timeline, right, is starting out in the iPhone boom. First set of that was like templates, right? You could start with this template and your client will save some money. And then cross-platform things like Xamarin, which, let me puke on the floor right now. Then Adobe briefly had their sad choice. There's a lot of stuff, but and it kind of ties into the AI stuff too here, where if the pitch to the business folks, or if you're in the startup world, the VC folks, is slightly worse for significantly less expensive, they are going to take that deal every single time. And having some illusion that, we are 9th century Greek philosophers sitting under the tree with our gold MacBooks and bowls of green tea, writing beautiful code, and that the client really, really, really does like us personally and, isn't going to try to save some money somehow, is ridiculous and dumb. But I have myself fallen into that trap many, many times. So yeah, it's always a downward trend in terms of, actually there's a great story. If you've ever seen Bob Cringely's, probably it was called Triumph of the Nerds, where he interviews Ballmer at one point in it. And Ballmer is just exasperated recounting the story when Microsoft was doing contract work for IBM. IBM had this concept of KLOCs, right? 1,000 lines of code. They paid them by the KLOC. So more code, more money, which I'm sure most of you hear that and like, that's an idiotic way to do it, right? That's exactly what you don't want. And Ballmer, in his way, right, in his, let's say, energetic, passionate way, is recounting the story saying, it was ridiculous. We could do a job at less memory, more speed, come out better user experience, and they would pay us less money because we didn't do it the crappy way. And that is basically what's happening and what continues to happen. Yes, sometimes there's a dip, right? All of those cross-platform solutions were originally pretty bad, but they're not bad now, right? PWAs can do it all, basically. I know someone's going to write in with some weird edge case, and of course, edge cases exist. But yeah, that would be my personal advice. Believe your own mantra of the trend is always to make, if the project would have been, I'm just going to make up a number here, $100,000 this year, it's going to go for 70 next year, then 60, then so on and so forth, right? It's always going to go down. There's always going to be a new tool, a new shortcut. And the challenge, when somebody has a question about the AI hype cycle, is the most plugged in business normie folks also overestimate the quality of some of these tools and are looking for super dramatic savings. So yeah, I mean, you got to take it with a little bit of patience, but I have yet to see a case where that wasn't true. This episode is sponsored by Mailtrap, an email platform that developers love. Go for high inboxing rates. Try today at mailtrap.io. Check the details in the description below. Okay, second question. What would you like to get into or learn more about in the future? So I wonder if you're limiting this to just tech stuff. I'm going to assume you are. I would like to know more about how under the hood data warehouses really work. I have a working knowledge. I've done some stuff with Snowflake quite recently, but I don't want to say a lot of it sounds like magic because it makes conceptual sense. But it does seem like to me these things are going to become very, very important. and having a kind of lower level understanding of how they work, I think could be a fairly big competitive advantage. Maybe I'm wrong, right? The one thing is a lot of them are proprietary, and I have found in the past, and I think a lot of you will have found, that hooking yourself to proprietary stuff is quite a bit risky. But that is something I want to learn more about, because I just, there's so many, like, all my travails of like moving people off Access with the Alice stuff. All these businesses have so much data that they could be using, and I don't mean like mining and selling. I mean using internally to get better telemetry on their customers, or to just run their businesses better. Like, I can't express the number of times I've had people be like, "Oh, we should fix this, but we're going to keep doing it on a clipboard and paper anyway." And that's great, but then like inevitably you lose the paper, and come on, these problems have existed forever. So yeah, that's something I'd like to get into. NDG. What is one tool that I can't live without? My question. It's funny because I'm switching between Mac and Linux quite frequently now, but mostly on Linux. I guess I'm going to be lame, and I'm going to say what a lot of my guests do. I'm going to say my electric kettle, because I drink a crap ton of tea these days. In fact, I have a loose leaf gunpowder green tea right here. If you want a actual tool I use for work, right now by far it's GitHub. I've just drank the Kool-Aid, and I'm doing almost all deployments, all CI, CLI stuff. CI stuff, DevOpsy stuff through GitHub Actions, and it's great. I love it. We just had the whole Ruby gems thing. Somebody was compromising certain gems to try to, I guess, attack people's social media accounts. And this is a little specific to Rails, or Ruby gems rather. You can make your gem file .lock to a checksum every time. And that was just super easy to hook into GitHub Action for basically all my customers. So, and for the Rails part of Alice. So yeah, that would be. Now, again, the risk with that though, right? Because I always like to show both sides, is that is a tool you pay for annually, or at least I pay for annually. I know a lot of people pay monthly. Microsoft could change the price on me. So it might not, that might change the math. Most expensive beverage. Well, it's a little dumb, right? Because I used to take my MacBook out to work at like trade shows, and if I wasn't getting any traction, I would just like work at the bar. So the problem with that is the prices are inflated at those shows. So if I was being honest, I bet there was some like artisanal IPA from wherever local city I was in that just stupidly cost $15 or something. But I'm going to assume that that's a little bit of a cop-out. So I'm just going to go ahead and say probably a Hendrix Martini. I used to use long stem Martini glasses. Bad idea, because the cables get caught on them. Yeah. I mean, a lot of that's a shtick too. Didn't happen quite as many times as you might think, but a little bit of razzing, repeating the same stories. The most common one actually was coffee. I used to almost exclusively. So one time I tried to use the AeroPress. Not only did I burn the crap out of myself, but I spewed it on the MacBook. That actually didn't destroy the MacBook, because it just wasn't enough fluid. I just had kind of gently wipe it off the keyboard. I did, however, spill a French press into one, and that did it. This is a good time to mention Apple Care Plus. Yeah, you can destroy the same MacBook multiple times. So, it's my favorite thing they sell. Which resource do you recommend for developing algorithms, book, video, etc.? Ooh, damn. I have a bunch on my shelf I want to read too, so I might change this shortly. I used to love Rob Connery's TechPub videos before he sold it to Pluralsight. Less focused on algorithms, but just general good sense and like, how do we do this kind of stuff? I think I would, there's the classic, what was it? The Microsoft Press one. It's like design patterns or something. It's like a big gray book. That one's good. It's a little dated. Clean Code is good. I think they just actually did a new edition of that a couple years ago. So both good. Ha ha ha. How did I become a Chelsea fan? Sam asks. So there's a little bit of controversy here. Here's what I would tell you. I thought I became a Chelsea fan after college or I kind of in college because I started contracting, but working in New York because one of my early clients was in Chelsea, and they were big soccer heads. A lot of the folks there were Indian. So, and I think somewhere like Pakistani too, or something like that. But they all love soccer. So I think I arbitrarily picked Chelsea because I had to have an answer. But I was recently told that I, in fact, used to watch Chelsea games at home earlier than that. So I'm not sure. I remember it one way. I'm told it could be the other way. If I had to guess, it's a combination of both. And at the time, I didn't have money for like any fancy, it didn't even exist, right? Crazy Hulu plans like I have now. So I would say I would bet you that Chelsea games were on at a convenient time. I don't know. I still think it's the whole I worked in Chelsea thing and needed an answer. Having said that, I've been following them for years now, for decades now. It's just, yeah, they just recently won the cup, which is nice. I wish I could catch more games. The timing's tough. Got kids running around. I tried to get my son into it, but he usually cons me to make him a pack of popcorn, and then we don't make, he doesn't make it to halftime. So it's good. For folks who have no idea what the hell I'm talking about, Chelsea's a Premier League in Britain soccer team. I think I'll answer the next logical question here. MLS, right? American Major League Soccer. Just can't get into it. I've tried. I don't know why. There was a lot of talk about Tampa getting a team. I probably would have been more excited about that. We do have like a AAA team here called the Rowdies. The nice thing is their tickets are dirt cheap and it's a fun show. The bad thing is it's like at weird times. So I don't know. I'm curious, any of you soccer heads out there, are you watching MLS? Like, I don't go out much like I used to, but I just feel that like anytime I'd be out at a bar talking to guys, they would be like, they were a lot of Premier fans, right? Premier League. Although I was going there to watch Premier League games, so it's tough. I just don't. I get the vibe that there's not a lot of MLS fans. Maybe we should ask Claude or GPT-5, see what the answer to that is. Okay, so just going to wrap up quickly here. Questions were great. I'm just going to add a few things. The hiring channel, use it. It's going well for people. It's, it doesn't hurt to just see what's out there, even if you have a job. I know that some of you are looking. I also know just from chatting with the folks in the general channel, some of you are just starting out. And yeah, people in that Discord, many of them are quite senior. And they may just like be considering getting a junior person that's not posted or not posted yet. And always good to just make the connection. The gaming stuff, there's a lot of people doing gaming in there. I haven't had a ton of time, but go by all means. We do have a couple interviews in the can that I need to get produced and out there for you. That's it. I would also suggest that you check out alice.dev if you need any kind of either development work done or in particular legacy data integrations. I just am coming out publicly with our Power BI super duper integration. That should all be up by the time this is up. So if you just go to alice.dev, there'll be a Power BI link. I know a lot of you love Power BI. I actually quite like it. I won't lie, I was kind of dragged into this world by a few customers, but it makes a ton of sense. So give that a go, particularly if you have like data locked in, I don't know, Access or some Fox Pro or some other ancient Oracle database, who knows? We can probably get it in there so you can manipulate it in a more useful way, right? Create your dashboards, have your fun. So great. Catch us next week. And thank you for listening. Bye, these.